This video is an affiliation with Collingwood Insurance. There's a great deal via the link right now, but more on that one later. This video is all about judging how close you are from the curb and how you can get close to the curb without risking ruining your lovely wheels or damaging your tyres. I'm not going to talk about where you should stop today or how you should use the pedals. It's literally just about judging the distance. There are two ways to get close to the curb without risking hitting it. The first way I'm going to show you is using a reference out your front window. Firstly, you need to get the car parked well. Park the car well yourself via trial and error, or get someone to park it for you so that you're a reasonable distance from the curb. You want to be about this far. Don't try and get really close, because then this method won't work very well and you will be likely to hit it. But also you don't want to be half a metre. So around about how far the car is now is ideal. Then you want to sit in the driver's seat of the car and see how far the curb comes into the window. Here it comes halfway into the window. Half is curb or pavement, in this case grass, and the other half is road. You don't want to move about much when you do this, because if you lean to the left, it's going to move. You see now it's more to the left. And if you lean your head to the right, it's going to move. Going up and down is going to make it look different as well. So try to be relaxed. On that point though, if the curb looks further away, you're too far. And if the curb looks closer, you're too close and you're probably going to hit it. I generally find that the curb goes about halfway into the window in most cars and SUVs. And in my car, it actually lines up with the left side of the windscreen wiper bracket, which is also a helpful reminder. But it can vary a little bit from car to car, so don't use this method to get really super close to the curb, or you may risk hitting it. If you want to get super close to the curb reliably, my second method I'm going to show you later should help you with that. So now you know where the curb needs to be, it's just a case of putting it there. So I'll do that now. I'm going to put the curb at the bottom of the window, halfway through near the wiper. Now this is where people can go wrong. They do one of three things generally. One is they stay here, in which case you can see from this illustration that the back is not near the curb. Two, they try to get the back near the curb by continuing forwards, in which case the front will hit the curb. Three, they try to straighten up too quickly, in which case the front leaves the curb because the back's not there yet, and you end up only slightly closer to the curb than you were to begin with. What you need to do is you need to do a balancing act with the wheel. You need to steer to the right enough that you don't hit the curb, but not so much that you come away from the curb. If you can steer just to keep the curb in exactly the same place it is now, the back will automatically come in and you'll automatically straighten. When you no longer need to steer to the right, then you've done. Then you've finished. So I'm going to show you that now. I'm going to steer to the right a little bit and I sort of do it a bit here and there, just trying to keep that curb in exactly the same place at the bottom of the window. And when I no longer need to keep steering to the right to stop myself hitting it, then I know I'm straight. And I think I've done it now. I'm not having to steer right anymore, so therefore I've finished. Make sure you slow down before you go near the curb. A lot of new drivers tend to go near the curb when they're still going fast, but that puts them at risk of hitting the curb and hitting it hard. But if you slow down first, down to about 10 miles an hour or 15 kilometers an hour, then come off the brake, and as it rolls, you can then line up with the curb. I'll show you that now. So, it's only a 20 mile an hour limit, so I'll get up to 20 here. And now I'm about 20. I'm going to slow down first. I'll get a little bit closer to the curb as I slow down. And now I'm about 10. I'll come off the brake, finish lining up with the curb. About there, about halfway through the bottom of the window. And now I can stop. Now it's straight. When your wipers are on, that is also a problem, because if you use your wiper as a reference marker, it's going to move. But you can roughly remember where it is at the bottom of the window, even when it does move. When using this method, you should focus on the curb. Do not focus on the bottom of the window. You should focus on the curb and use your peripheral vision to see the bottom of the window. What I mean by peripheral vision, if you don't know, is also known as the corner of your eye. If you look at your hand now in front of your face and focus on your hand, you can still see everything around your hand. That's your peripheral vision. If you focus on the window, the bottom of the window, you actually get double vision and you end up seeing two curbs. I'm not sure why, but when you've got two curbs, well, it's kind of hard to choose which one to line up with. Now I'm going to show you another method. This is my preferred method as it's much more accurate. What I do is I use the method I've just shown you. I use a reference at the bottom of the window to line up with the curb. but that's only rough. That's not going to get you super close reliably and save your wheels. Then what I do is I put it in reverse and use the wing mirror to see where the curb actually is. Then I reverse close to the curb. That way I can get any car close to the curb every time without ever hitting the wheels. So now I'll show you how I'll do that. So I'm going to stop near the curb using the reference at the front window as I showed you. And when I've got that right, which is about there, I'm relatively close, but I'm not super close. Now I'm going to put it in reverse and use my wing mirror so I can see exactly where I am so I can get really close. I lower the wing mirror to help me see better. You don't have to do that, depends on your car. These wing mirrors are quite small in this car, so lowering it really helps. But sometimes just lifting your head like this, that can be all you need. Now I look round and I'm going to steer towards the curb. I've got to go towards it because I want to go towards it. So I'll steer left, which is towards it, and I'll come back and angle myself so that I'm near the curb. There you go, I'm pointing towards the curb now. Now straighten the wheel and I'll come back until I am really close, and I can see that at the very bottom of the wing mirror how close I am. There's really quite a small gap there now. And now I'm really close. I'll steer away from the curb to take that angle off. Make sure it's safe by looking round again, come back a little bit more until it's straight like that. And now I'll straighten the wheel because now I'm close to the curb. And you can use that method to get as close as you like because you can actually see the curb. Make sure you're looking at the very bottom of the wing mirror because that's actually what's beside you, how far away you are from the curb. If you're looking higher up in the wing mirror, you're actually looking at what's behind you, which isn't really relevant. Also, make sure you don't add too much angle. So this represents the curb. The side of this bottle represents the curb. So you're trying to park the car next to this. This mobile phone is the car. Where a lot of people go wrong is they steer too much, add too much angle, and then it's very hard to see how close they are to the curb in the wing mirror. And when they go to straighten up, they don't have time and end up hitting the curb. What you want to do is add modest amounts of angle, like a small angle like this, and come back slowly and gradually. And when you feel close, then take the angle off. The smaller amount of angle you have, the more gradually you come into the curb, the more gradually you get close to the curb, and the easier it is to see the curb in the wing mirror. Loads of angle makes it very hard. The key to adding a small amount of angle is to straighten the wheel once you add angle, and you always steer towards the curb if you're going towards it. So the curb is over there at the moment, so I'm going to steer the top of the wheel towards it that way. Don't think it's back to front, don't think it's the opposite way around. Many people do. And if the curb was on this side, on my side over here, I would steer this way to go towards it. So this is how I add a small amount of angle. I'll put it in reverse, take the handbrake off and look round, and I'm going to steer towards the curb. Not too much, just a bit. And when I've got a bit of angle, like I have now, I'll straighten the wheel. Now I'm not adding any more angle. I've got this angle, and this angle is going to stay the same. And now, if I look round again, I can come back gradually at this angle, and it's much easier for me to see how close I am to the curb. And it's easier for me to straighten up as well because I've got less angle to take off before I hit it. Now I'm quite close, I'll turn away from the curb to undo what I did earlier. I put angle on earlier, now I'm taking angle off. And when I feel like, or can see that the angle is off, which is around about there, I'll straighten the wheel. I'm actually having to lift my head because I've set the wing mirror for the camera, so I can't actually see what's in the wing mirror at the moment. I'm looking at the camera's screen to see the wing mirror, but it's too small, so I'm actually having to lift my head so I can actually see it instead, if you're wondering why I'm straining. If the mirror was set up for myself, I'd be able to do it relaxed. I wouldn't have to strain up, stretch my neck. Now, when I show people this method of using the wing mirror, they tend to use it on the way forwards, but it doesn't work on the way forwards, unfortunately. There's a couple of reasons why. One minor reason is that you can't lower the wing mirror on the way forwards very easily, although that doesn't always affect you, depends how big the wing mirrors are, and you can always lift your head. And the other reason is you're actually looking behind you. You're going that way, but you're looking at the curb behind you, which isn't actually relevant to what's coming up in front of you. Let me show you how that really affects you. I've lowered the wing mirror on that side so you can really see the problem. I'm going to try and steer towards the curb. As the front of my car goes towards the curb, look what happens in the wing mirror. Looks like it gets further, and I've just hit the curb there as well. So I've hit the curb with the front wheel very gently. I've not caused any damage. and it's only got further in the wing mirror. And if you steer the other way, so I'll steer the other way now, it will get closer in the wing mirror, as you can see there, but the nose gets further. And that's generally what happens when people use the wing mirror when they're trying to park, when they're going forwards and trying to park. It's okay when you get really experienced because you can sort of translate the difference between which way you've got to steer compared to which way it's going in the wing mirror. But for new drivers, they normally just end up parking with the nose sticking out, or the nose hitting the curb, or I have to take the steering wheel to stop them hitting the curb. It's important not to hit the curb. It's not just for appearances, but for safety, because if you hit the curb with the side wall of your tyre in a certain way and get unlucky, you could damage the internal structure of your tyre, causing it to blow out at speed. So you could be going fast on a motorway, suddenly it blows out, you lose pressure, and that can cause quite a bad accident. So look after your tyres, don't go hitting them into things. Not all curbs are the same though. If you look at this curb, it's angled away from the road with a rounded edge. If you hit that at 5 miles an hour, it's very unlikely you're going to cause any damage. Where if you look at this other curb, it's angled into the road and has a very hard edge. And I've hit one of these curbs at less than 1 mile an hour whilst reversing, and it actually took my tyre out. When I say took my tyre out, it damaged it to the point where I had to replace it because it cut right into the sidewall and I was going really slow. These are very hard and not forgiving on your wheels. So when you see this type of curb, be extra careful. So there's your two methods. You can use a reference marker out the front window to get relatively close to the curb, not super close. It's quick and easy and it saves you reversing. It's good for the driving test. They don't expect you to get super close to the curb during your driving test, so I don't recommend you try and get super close to the curb. It's just adding risk. And even if you're that far away, that's more than good enough on the test in the UK. If you want to get super close to the curb, say you're leaving your car there overnight, then put it in reverse and use the wing mirror to get super close. That way, there's less risk of someone knocking your car as they pass you. Well, I hope this video helps you line up with the curb and get close without risking your tyres. If you think it will, please give the video a thumbs up and check out Collingwood and Confused in the description. Collingwood are great if you're learning to drive and want to insure yourself on a friend or family member's car, because you can do so without risking their policy or risking their no claims bonus. At the moment, there's up to 35% off via the link and a £20 Amazon gift card. There are long-term and short-term policies available, and if you cancel a long-term policy, you will get a pro rata refund for the remaining term. Using the link in the description does support this channel. Also, check out confused.com, because Confused allow you to compare many insurers to get the best deal. They allow you to add name drivers, take name drivers off of your policy as well, play around with the excess without having to do repeated quotes to find out what's the best deal for you. Using the link in the description does support this channel, so thank you very much. Subscribe to get my future videos, and until the next one, cheerio.